how they did. What did they do when they realized that one of them have sinned? They brought them out and their family and set them on fire in order to appeal to the Lord and appease the land so that they will be able to win the war in their journey to their promised land. Not to condone the evil is the reason why that most of the Igbos are hated all around the world, because they don't easily agree to do what is evil. How then did all this evil come into the land that Igbos kill their own brothers and sisters for the sake of money? They are easily offered and bribed, and they are used in order to create chaos and problem, and all you need to do is to offer them money. How? Where is your integrity? A lot of you have seen what that has brought to you in Peter B's campaign, so that you can be able to recollect and help you in the history to remember who you are. The people that people loved then, nations around you loved, the Yorubas, the Bibios, the Fik, and Benin, and kingdoms, and all the nations around you. Who were you then? And who are you today? Who and what kind of person do you bring to lead you? To bring to become your leader? You must listen to the word of the Almighty God that has been calling you to examine yourself, the change that is required in your heart, to start to focus on rebuilding your own nation. Before you can think about the brother nation, those that believe in one Nigeria, in order for everything that you have campaigned all the time, when the people of the North never wanted it, neither did the people of the West wanted it. But you keep trying to bring it together, but then at the time you have finished, you have become an investor who have opened and made his own investment public, and the activist investors came in and bought all the shares and then changed the board and removed the person from the company that they have established. So must you continue to do the same thing, or will you now begin to look at yourself to find and examine yourself? What do you do in order to protect yourself from total annihilation and total destruction? Will you continue to fight in a company or in a place where you have no stake, where you have no strategy of winning, where you have lost what it takes and what made you who you are or who you were in the past? It starts by a retreat, a reflection upon your life to see what must change. Everyone needs to begin to look at their life and the way they relate to one another, the way they see their neighbor, the way they see their brothers and sisters. Will you become like those from the riverine areas and have all the for ages? Or will you become like those that hate you and can't stand you anymore? Or will you begin to look inwardly in humility, begin to find yourself like the example you find in Peter B? To begin to look at yourself, to find an answer within yourself, to first of all discover who you are again, for you have lost who you are. I remember recently, not too long ago, going home to ask them to talk about the kind of family that we were. That all the people that were there, and including the elders, has even forgotten who they are. Until I began to talk to them, to tell them who their fathers and fathers were, as one that grew up in their midst, listening to the elders and the stories. I remember telling us the story as part of the family, where my great-great-great-grandfathers, and I used to be small then as a kid, and this is the only place where I'm allowed to go to help the elders when they are, especially during the farm season, to help them with some kind of messages, errands, and help them with some housework, especially during the time of farming, during the time of harvesting, when we used to help them, and as we help in the preparing the materials like yam to be placed in the barn and tied up in the barn, or time to bring it down and prepare it to go to be planted in the farm. And I was small then, and they used to tell us a lot of story as a kid about how our great-great-great-grandfather, who was the person in charge at the time in performing the priestly duties and divine duties over Igbo land. Everybody has their own jurisdiction all across Igbo, all the way down to Ijebibo, and all the way down throughout the riverine areas. Everywhere there is Igbo, there is one, and somebody in charge of those areas, performing priestly duties unto the people, the duties of divination. And he was telling how there are some bad people when the things happen and it gets too much in the land, where they did not know what to do. They bring the complaint unto them, and they will cry out unto the Lord and summon the eagles to come from the high skies and come and use their beak and then attack the people, the person, and tear the body apart and fly back out in the skies. And they will summon the vultures to come and pick up all their flesh and left them as bones on the streets. And they will say that the person has committed abomination, that not even the birds of the air and the vultures could leave a flesh of the body in the skin. Then you now read about the man of God from Judea in the book of Kings, chapter 13. Then you will see as a child, then the story look like a story. It tells stories, all the stories that we were told about what our ancestors had done. But when we began to read the Bible and I see the man of God in Judea and what has happened to him, and I was able to relate to it, that indeed that the word of the Lord and the word of the ancestors who were not Christians and never met anybody coming to preach them because they were leaders in the divine duties and priestly duties in Igbo land. The connection between what they said our ancestors had done, connecting it to the man of Judea from the man of God from Judea, and what happened to him for disobeying God. The story we were told about how we ought to live our life, which have been forsaken by people who have desecrated the land of Igbos. If you go to the book of 2 Kings in chapter 2 from verse 19 to 20, you will see the divination that was done there by Elijah about the water that nobody could drink or die. And after performing the divination and praying over it, and then they asked them, they were able to drink the water and it was purified immediately. Then I remember the story I was told